Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is a sports icon in this town and in this country and in the world, on the planet. And he went from a skinny, gangly, unknown 18-year-old to a global icon and a gazillionaire. So our question of the day for smart, good-looking listeners is, what's the biggest change in your life in the last 10 years? Because I don't think anybody can match what Giannis has been through in his last 10 years. But we'll take a run at it with our next guest, the esteemed and estimable analyst for Bally Sports Wisconsin and All Matters Brewers. He's filling in today. He's pinch hitting. This was not his forte as a player, but he's pinch hitting for Bill Schroeder, who is on vacation and out of touch today and can't be reached by cell phone. It's our buddy Tim Dillard, a.k.a. Dim Dillard. Hello, Timmy.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
So 10 years ago, I'm looking at, if this was 20 years ago, you could say you embarked on your career in professional baseball with the Brewers. But 10 years ago, according to the Wikipedias, you spent a lot of time with the Lancaster Barnstormers.
10 years ago, I was living in a family's basement playing independent ball in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Lots changed. Now I sleep in, I'm actually in an office right now at our studio in Brookfield. So it's kind of an abandoned office. So luckily, no one bothers me when I'm in here.
That's
perfect. I was living in a family's basement too, but I didn't play baseball.
You sure wasn't a van down by the river?
Yeah, that going.
We just knew it was, they had a window open that he would crawl in and out of when he needed sleep. But yes, the last 10 years have been eventful for you, Tim, not family stuff and professional stuff and retiring from baseball and getting your number retired, all that stuff.
You're going to make me cry, man. I guess a lot has happened. 10 years. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know who's had a bigger time than Giannis in the last 10 years. I'm sure there's some people out there, but I mean, like you said, he's world renowned, right? So I don't know if too many people can compete with that.
No, not too many. All right, Tim, you're filling in for Rock, and Rock is not on the road. You've been following games. You've been doing the shows from the studio in Brookfield. The Brewers have had some gritty quality wins on this trip already, and they're not even halfway into it.
Yeah, that's true. Is that a question? You want me to?
No, I will ask you a question.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, but I will ask, what do you think?
Inflection at the end.
What do you think of the way that they're playing on these first 4 games of the trip?
I know, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I think they're playing some great baseball. They're kind of clicking on all cylinders right now. Bullpen's carrying them. The starting rotation has done fantastic. Timely hits. One interesting thing, they have 28 hits already on this road trip. And, of course, they're 3-4 in the 4 games. But they've hit 22 of those hits on fastballs. This team is hitting fastballs right now, and that makes pitchers uncomfortable because most pitchers, everything that they do is centered around the fastball and deviating from that. And the Brewers have found a way collectively as a whole. It's not just 1 or 2 guys, but a whole lineup going up there and feasting on some fastballs. I find that very interesting.
That's what KB's been looking for, is that blueprint, that offensive strategy.
Yeah, well, let's hope that lefties don't start throwing a lot of breaking balls, because that could, I mean, it's
why you got to be the dark cloud.
Yes. No, I'm just saying it's no secret, but it's got to start somewhere. And we're glad that it is.
Yeah, that's the reason the season's so long, so you have a chance to make adjustments. And then if the season was a month long, you wouldn't get a full scope of what players can do, what teams can do. And, the Brewers have made adjustments in the right way. And so I think they're playing some really good baseball. They've won 7 of their last 10. Hopefully, they can keep that going. I think this is a big road trip because it's going to decide a lot. If they can stay in first place and they look in good shape going into the All-Star break, because that's when a lot of moves start being made. And I think the Brewers are maybe just one big bat, just to acquire a bat, a proven one that can bat, 280. And I think that might be all the Brewers need.
It's difficult to figure out what this team is. I kind of look at it like the 3 Bears, right? Are they overproducing? Are they underproducing? Or are they just right where they're supposed to be? I'm not sure what this team is supposed to be.
That's a good analogy. I'm more of like a gummy bear type analogy person. Yeah.
Okay. Not a big porridge guy, are you?
Well, you just know they're going to play a lot of close games, and that's just kind of been the whole Craig Counsell era. Has been close games, and they really didn't have that many early on, but now I think they're 13-4 in one-run ball games, and that's second most in baseball, only behind the Marlins, who've had like 19 or something like that. So this team is built for close games. It just is, and luckily the defense is amazing, and the bullpen has just been lights out lately.
Tim Dillard with us from Valley Sports, Wisconsin, getting ready for Brewers game 2 in New York. Of course, everybody knew Colin Ray would outpitch Justin Verlander, the future Hall of Famer, last night, because that's what happens. Hey, Valley Sports swag. Timmy's showing us on the
I'm
video.
surrounded
By it, like helping yourself.
Did you need a framed photo of Craig Kashan? Because I got one right here.
Yes,
I didn't know he played.
I know.
I want the bat that he's got on his shoulder.
Kashan Bat Day? Is that a big promo?
Craig Kashan.
I don't know. I'm going to get him to sign this. I'm taking this home for sure.
I love it. Well, Tim, to your point, the Brewers, they win a close one last night. They left a small village of base runners.
You can watch this on all of our socials. By the way.
That's right. They left a small village of base runners out there last night and did not. They have one hit, maybe with runners in scoring position all night. They got this big swing from Weimer. But they gave up 3 hits, my man. You give up 3 hits, you got a pretty good chance of winning the ball game.
Yeah, Colin Ray was awesome. He finally putting it all together. I feel like we've seen him have flashes of greatness. And listen, out of all but one start of his this season, has he gone at least 5 innings? I mean, around baseball, if you need a guy that in the starting rotation to eat up innings, he's been doing his job. And then what we saw last night was just another step up, another elite. And you know what? I don't know how Justin Verlander kept escaping. I mean, he was Magic Man, El Diablo. He was in trouble the entire game and then didn't give up a run, but leave it to the bullpen to give it up, because that's where a lot of times the Brewers do their damage is against other teams' bullpens. But who would have thought that Colin Ray would just outduel Justin Verlander? Because honestly, I mean, Ray he looked outstanding last night.
He was great. The bullpen was great.
Let's go back to the finger. Yeah. Years ago, they used to be able to go to, I might have been County Stadium at the time. Now it could have been Miller Park on a Saturday, and they would do prostate screenings in exchange for a pair of tickets. I can see that being a giveaway.
That finger?
The big finger. Prostate Cancer Awareness Month.
It might be what it's from. I don't even, I don't know how that works.
You shouldn't be playing with it then, Tim.
No, it's brand new. I took it out of the plastic. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's.
I don't even know what to do with it.
Where do you show? You just did what you need to do with it. That's all you need to do with it to
number one
entertain.
Finger. It's the weird number one finger, Tim. It
number one fan.
Just absolutely classic. Number one fan. Absolutely classic. So, Tim, I want to bounce a theory off you. I heard Vinny Rottino say this with our boys from the earlier in the day, yesterday, that playing in New York brings an energy. When you're a visiting player, it's the center of the media universe, and there's just a juice and a buzz that's kind of palpable. I feel it when you're walking around Manhattan, or when you're going to the ballpark from the hotel. It's not the same as every other trip. You're in New York. You're on the world stage when you're playing the Mets or the Yankees. Is that a factor as a player? It feels like it to me as a media guy. Is it a factor for players? And do players care at all that they're squaring off against a team with a $350 million payroll? Do they get excited about that part of it and being the upset-minded guys? Or is it more about just doing well on that stage and your one trip to New York for the year?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's probably more just it's the city that never sleeps. There's always something going on. And the Mets have had a good turnout despite the fact that they haven't won many games in June. But you're playing in New York. I remember one time we rode the subway from the hotel, and we get to Citi Field, and we go walk up, and we're all wearing kind of the same thing, right? Players all kind of wear the exact same thing. We walk up there, and the guy doesn't even check for badges or anything. He's just like, "Hey guys," and just let us walk in. We're like, "Oh, dude, the Mets, this is so cool." They just let us in. Then we go play in the Bronx, I think the same year, and then we think we're just going to walk in. We come off the subway, and the guy's just like, "Let me see your player passes." And I didn't even have one at the time because I had just probably been called up or didn't get an updated one. Mine was from like 7 years earlier. So Anyway, they wouldn't let me in, and I think it was Craig Counsell that had to vouch for me and like waited with me while they did all this stuff.
Man.
So like you're in New York. We used to stay at the hotel where we could just walk and get on the subway and go straight to the Bronx or Queens. So it's just there's a buzz there that you just can't replicate because I don't know. There's so many people there, and there's always something going on.
And famous people in the stands, Seinfeld.
Oh,
you're looking around
Jerry
the stands.
Seinfeld. Yeah. Keith Hernandez. I met Ron Darling there last year. That was pretty cool. He was eating ribs, but I shook his hand anyway.
Give me some of that sauce, buddy.
Yeah.
Saucy Ron Darling. Yeah, and there's an energy about that. Now, I wonder if that goes away when you play there. And I remember covering, this is going way back to the Subway series. And it was like Bobby Valentine was talking about it, and he was saying, like, for us, he's like, yes, there's a tension and there's, but he goes, that comes with playing in New York. He said, go get lunch on a day of a game in New York is an effort where you're fighting crowds and you have to like, it's a different level. It's not the same. You can get your routines, but everything has an extra degree of difficulty because it comes with being in that city.
I would compare it a little bit to like playing winter ball, right? Like as an American, go play in Venezuela. And if you go out there and you throw a ball, everyone boos you, right? And you throw a strike and everybody cheers. Yeah. Like, but that's what it's like in New York. You better be good. I've had a lot of buddies that have played for New York and they've, since have left. I still got a couple of guys on the team. And just talking to them about the pressure of what's it like playing for the Yankees. And he's like every day is just, it's the biggest thing in the world every single day. And it's hard to stay at your best at that time. And, just like winter ball, if you're not cutting it, man, they'll get rid of you.
If the Yankees plane is late and they get to the hotel lobby at 4:30 in the morning in a different city, there's still 100 people waiting there because they're the Yankees. They're Yankees fans who are, they're the Yankees. They want to see the circus.
I would think that in professional sports, there are very, very few teams, if more than one, that where you could say, I'm a Yankee, and it would just, it just is a level above everybody else.
Opens doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I mean, it's like I'm a Cardinal. I would say Yankees is probably like that. Dodgers also might be like that.
Cowboys.
That could open some doors. Sure.
That in baseball, those might be the two.
That is different. That is different.
It's where you're just at a different level.
All right, Tim, Julio Teheran's going to try to duplicate what Colin Ray did last night. And he's been also outstanding. For all these pitchers that go make $200 million, here's a couple of guys that anybody in ball would love to have these guys in their rotation.
Dude, Teheran he's a pitcher, man, right? In a world just filled with velocity, when everybody wants velocity, Teheran, I looked it up, he's got the 8th lowest starting pitcher velocity in baseball. 8th lowest. I mean, there's probably a couple of bat boys that could probably throw harder than him. He averages fastball is less than 90 miles an hour. Yet he's carving people up. And you're wondering, how is he doing this? Because we're not used to seeing pitching anymore. Because with high velocity, you're allowed to, that covers mistakes. Velocity will cover a multitude of mistakes, and it allows you just to kind of throw. Pitching is what you have to do when you're not throwing really hard. And that is what we're seeing. We're seeing that from Colin Ray. He's been doing some great pitching. Of course, he can run it up there 95, but Teheran not even breaking a pane of glass and carving because he's pitching. He's reading swings. He's seeing what teams are trying to do. He sees how his stuff plays, and movement is key. And he knows what he has. He's not dumb. He's out there knowing this team's going to swing, and yet he wants to throw something that they're going to hit and not hit hard. And I mean, just hats off to this guy, because this is what pitching looks like, kids.
It's Greg Maddux.
It's right? Greg Maddux. Yeah.
And or you look at it like compare boxing, the fine art of boxing, to like UFC. If you watch some of those old Muhammad Ali fights and Frazier and stuff like that, there was a lot of strategy.
The sweet science came.
Yeah, there was the boxing versus just pummeling. So that's a big difference.
That's that.
There's a finesse to it. And it's fun to watch, because as an analyst, they're paying me to like pay attention, right? Don't tell anybody. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, what would I do right here? And you can tell those gears are always turning, and he's on the same page with his catcher. And none of it's by chance. He's not just flipping stuff up there and getting outs. I mean, there's a whole line of experience. He had 1,400 innings before he came to the Brewers, right, in the big league. So he has all this veteran experience, and he knows what he has, and he is using it to the max.
It's, personally, as a baseball fan, if I had to compare the two, I think I like seeing a strikeout on someone throwing a yacker low and away that they get a guy to chase versus getting frozen on a fastball. I think that's cool, dude. When you see him just completely fooled.
That's him.
Yeah,
hey, Tim, on the way out, you have a new nickname for Weimer home runs here. Is that a thing? Do you have a new nickname for these Weimer homers?
Every time he's hit a homer, I said, well, here's another Weimer whack. Right? Like that's, I thought that was standard. I don't know if I came up with that. I was like,
well,
now
I haven't seen it on a T-shirt yet.
That's it. That's what I was going to do. We got to do that. Redo The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
There you go.
A Weimer whack, a Weimer whack, a Weimer whack.
Here's a T-shirt with a barrel man on it.
Yes.
What else we got?
The original Bernie.
I got all sorts of stuff in here. You need a collared shirt that says Valley Sports? I know where one is.
I'm coming to Brookfield. I'm going to help clean out that closet for you.
One of these. Yeah, I know, right?
Beautiful.
That's a good one right
that
there.
Is outstanding. Tim's show and tell here. Car. You're gonna have to go to social media to see what he's showing us, but that's
these are like all the giveaways of the last decade.
Hey, you need a frisbee? I got like 700 Valley Sports frisbees right here.
My dog needs.
You know what? You are baseball's carrot top. You're just pulling stuff out of a trunk.
A prop comic. There you go. That is phenomenal. Oh, I love it. I love it. Tim Dillard, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a prop announcer.
We look forward. I know one thing. We'll be watching you for the next 10 years. So then we'll say 10 years ago, 10 years from now, we'll say 10 years ago we were talking to Tim Dillard, and we're still talking to Tim Dillard. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
You got
it. Signing off, Tim Dillard, ladies and gentlemen. We shall return to the Iron Jock Studios. Keep it right here, Drew.